Where do I even start? Let's get into everything that has happened from the top. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Doctor in a Bikini. This is the first one where I am actually posting the video of myself. I've got a whole background. Red, unfortunately, is not my color. We learned that on the stage. I look very orange. I'm gonna adjust this light here. Oh my, oh, yep, she's even more pale than ever before. I am coming to you from the start of tour. I have so many updates to share. But first, let me just take the edge off a little bit, as they say. This is not wine, this is Diet Coke. Because we are going to have some talks. I am going to update you on all of the things. So much to share. Listen, wait, let me get the aroma. I don't know. I'm not a wine person, but before I left for tour for my secret venture, Connor and I, we are big thrifting people, and we found a wine fridge that is worth two something thousand for $150 at Goodwill. Love me a good Goodwill find. Anyways, where do I even start? I feel like let me start with the small updates first, and then I'm gonna give you the whole story. So that way, if I lose you, then I lose you. But a couple of easy questions that I got from listeners. They said, can you start sharing your daily self-care recs? I don't know if I can commit to daily, but I can show you this week what I bought myself on tour. Also, I didn't acknowledge it when I popped on the camera, but I am straight post like self-care type of shower. So I look very authentic right now. There's no eyebrow makeup, there's no nothing. It's just shiny face. First, we have got, I'm like, is this going to be backwards because it's Zoom? I have no idea. I'm trying on a new platform, by the way. Welcome to my ADD podcast episode. Love the glow recipe, also featuring my manicure. Love that. Love that. Got my little stars action if you can see. Yeah, yeah. She actually has her nails done. Love that. And then I have the face wash for this, but I did get the avocado, what is that? Avocado ceramide recovery serum. There's other ones. I just didn't feel like bringing my whole batch up here, but love this brand. I was also asked what I'm reading, and I did pack the entire A Court of Thorns and Roses series in my suitcases. And I did just buy new books this week. All I'm saying is there's still room. There's still room. So may or may not make it to double digits. Maybe I'll ship some books home. The nice thing about this tour, I won't get too far into it just yet, but the nice thing is I do get to go home more frequently than I did with Dancing with the Stars. So I will be able to exchange more books and drop off books, is basically what I'm getting at. Also, not news, but I am a child. My first night at this hotel, I kind of got a little like bored and lonely. I feel like it's just a tour thing that happens. You're meeting new people and you're excited, but it's like once everything kind of settles and you realize you're on the road and you're by yourself, you kind of, at some point, I think it was the first day off, you get like a little like, oh, well, now what I do? So I ordered myself a coloring book because, listen, when I was packing, I have coloring books at home and I looked at it. I looked at it good in the eyes and I was like, Shannon, you're a grown adult. Do you really think that this is necessary to go in your suitcase? Future Shannon, the answer is yes, it is necessary. Otherwise, you'll just buy another one. So if you're watching, it's just these cute little like spooky, because you know I'm a Halloween girl, spooky little ghosty coloring. But even better, shout out to the Writer's Block in Las Vegas. It is the best bookstore I've come across here. I wish that we had more around this area. It's like a cute little hybrid between a coffee shop and a bookshop, and I spent like an hour in there. I'm going to show you reason 2.0 why I'm a child. This is my other creativeness when I don't feel like coloring. There are these, I wish I didn't throw away the label, but there's this new brand where they use old repurposed books and it's just like a blank journal. But I figured how fun would it be if I made myself a junk journal? I'm not going to open it and show you because this is just my own little thing. But I do like that the title is The Ghost. I looked up the storyline and it's kind of cool why that one gravitated towards me. I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes I either have it in me to journal or I just don't. Like I have thoughts or I don't. And sometimes I don't feel like writing them down. So junk journal means anything goes. It can be stickers. It can be something I found that day. So this is my tour junk book and it has made me really excited just to do something fun. But I will show you really quick a cute glimpse of glam. I guess it is kind of a glam. It's a sticker book. It's called the, oh no. The Antiquarian, I think I said that right. The Antiquarian Bibliophilia. Yep, I think I crushed that. Technically, it's on Amazon, but I did get it at the bookstore just because I don't know. But the vibes in here, it's very like spooky slash kind of circusy. Like it's not your traditional sticker book, but they do have a few different vibes on like I said, check it out on Amazon because you can find it. There's a lot of cool, like kind of dark twisty stickers and some fun, like spiritual stickers, and I don't know. Love it so far. Those are my fun updates that have nothing to do really with all the life things been going on, but I just felt like sharing those products. No affiliate, no discount code. That's just me sharing my little precious tour gems with you. Speaking of, let's get into everything that has happened. All right, from the top. So I feel like where I last included what was going on in life, I was prepping for Sun City Showdown. And I don't remember what I shared on the last like episode with my headspace. Oh, that was like such a nice double chin. This is why I'm not like a recording kind of girl because then you see the facial expressions you make. And let's just say some of the faces I make are unhinged. And I feel like I just need to not know. You know what I mean? You ever, it's like you see a picture of yourself, you hear your voice, and you're like, oh. Anyways, so yeah, I feel like what I last shared with you all, I was doing the shortest prep of my life. It was ended up being 7 weeks long. I had other plans for the season. I had other plans. And, plans just don't always go accordingly, which, I feel like that has been the lesson this year. I, even just starting from the top when I got back from Dancing with the Stars, I kept thinking I was going to apply to another clinic job. And again, if I've already explained this, sorry, but if you're new here, you're welcome. So when I got back from the 4 month tour, Connor and I had already made the decision that I wasn't going to go back to a clinic just because unfortunately, I am not a 9 to 5 cubicle office kind of girly. I actually get very depressy lemon zesty, and I really have a hard time with showing up to the same office every single day. And there's a whole other list of that. We don't need to get into that part today, but we had made the decision together. He decided to support me because he knows I'm so lucky for him. He knows who I am and what makes me happy, and that's just not doing the clinic full time. Maybe that'll change one day, I don't know, but I really wanted to focus on my passion. Ugh. Focus on my passion of posing prehab and the podcast when I came back. Now, granted, even though my purple aura self loves to have all of the projects, all of the things, I have a million goals going on at once. Some I vocalize with you all, some I don't yet. But there's more. Because I'm human, though, I have to let something drop every now and then. When I came back, I went so hard on posing prehab full time because that was my mainstream of income. Words are hard. And I was doing the shortest prep of my life because I wanted to, quite frankly, prove it to myself that I could do it. After coming off of a bus tour where the only controllables that I had was doing the best I could to move my body and eat what I could on the road, which it is a miracle that I got stage ready without any extreme measures. I think it taught me a lot about myself and what I can do, and maybe where I subconsciously slacked in the past and got comfortable. So that was a good lesson just to come face to face. During that time, and this is the juicy stuff that I haven't shared publicly, during that time, I think it's so interesting because I had an idea for a podcast episode during that time and I didn't do it. I should have, and I still will. But I subconsciously realized I was not having fun. And I have yet been faced with that lesson in all my years of competing so far. If you've been here a minute, you know that I've said many times that I think we continuously learn, or we should in this sport, many things about ourselves. And that's why this podcast, it's not a bodybuilding specific podcast. It is because of my perspective, and a lot of you all have that commonality. So a lot of you do participate, but I don't know about you, but it's not forever, probably. I don't know. I'm not a psychic. I mean, let me put a pin in that comment. I'm gonna come back to that and you'll see. What is important is all the lessons that we learn and all the things that we take away from the experiences we have. And that's what this podcast is about, is how we become better people, how we support ourselves better, how we take away the lessons of this very hard sport that a lot of us here Do. Oh my gosh, my lighting went out. What? You're on this hot mess Purple Aura Express with me. If you're watching, anyways, yeah, so that's what this podcast is about. And that was the first time ever that I realized my hobby wasn't fun. And if we're not having fun at our hobby, then what the hell is it for? What is, oh my gosh, this lighting. What are you doing, sir? Okay, I magically addressed the light situation. Shocker, it needed to be charged. So my hair is miraculously dried on this video now. But where we left off, I was saying I essentially found that I just wasn't having fun. And I don't think that really sat with me until really the tipping point was when I finally got this opportunity in my lap, which sounds like I'm saying it's a problem. It was a blessing for sure. I think the short term I was okay with it not being fun because let's be real, there's points in prep or anything that's worth doing. It's not going to be fun the entire time. So, I think for me, I thought on the days that I was feeling whatever sort of way that I was, I just figured it was a part of the process. And to be honest, it was kind of easy just to get through it because it was such a short period of time that there really was no option but through it. So that was the first time I had been in that situation. And come week 7, yeah, come week 7, I got this crazy phone call. First was text saying, "Hey, would you be open to discussing a potential contract?" And this is where I joked about the whole psychic thing, putting a pin in it. I literally, when I said, "Sure, I'm free to hop on a phone call now," I said out loud, I was like, "Watch it be Lady Gaga." But I said it in like such a passing, flippant tone. It was like oh, like watch it be. Ha ha ha. Picked up the phone. Sure enough, that's exactly what it was, which I'm like, excuse. Because literally the other week, a video resurfaced of me back in 2022, 2021, something like that, where I joked in a TikTok about how, when you go to Dutch Brothers, they follow me here. I know this is like another ADD Shannon train. You go to Dutch Brothers, you get your beloved coffee or whatever you get, and they are known for being super sociable, over the top in a great way. They're like, "Hey, how you doing today? What's your mother's maiden name? What's your social security number? What do you do for work?" And I felt like at that time I was in such an unhappy place with my life, career-wise. I felt like I had just graduated PT school, and if you've heard like previous episodes, and you already kind of know this whole thing, but I had this big anticlimactic graduation on top of there's this weird finish line whenever you finish a big goal where you're like, well, now what? Because this has been your sole focus for a long time, whether that's graduation for med school, whether that is an Ironman, whether that is a bodybuilding show, you go through this period of mourning when this big goal that you've been striving for is just done. And for me, hold on, swishing this around like it's my accessory here. For me, when I finally got to working, I was like, all right, graduation's one thing, that's fine. But I just felt like I really couldn't find my groove and my happy place in the clinic. And it's a really hard place to balance all of the things, and that's just life in general. But I made this video around that time saying, I was just so sick of answering the question, what do you do for work? Because to be honest, I kind of hated it. I was like, oh, I don't like being inauthentic. I don't like faking, but I'm also not gonna like accept the coffee from Jeffrey. And he's like, that's so awesome. Do you love doing what you do for work? And then me being like, it's not what I thought it was. Like, it's nothing that I thought it was gonna be. Oh, you want to go to med school? Don't do it. What are you supposed to say? Especially when they're like, "Oh, I'm actually applying to go to PT school now." And you're like, "Save yourself. Don't do it." Just kidding, just kidding. JK, brought me here, so there's hope. But yeah, I mean, I made this joke that the next time I went there, I said, "I'm just going to say something ridiculous." And the first thing I said as a joke was, "I'm just going to start saying that I'm Lady Gaga's physical therapist." And that video got sent to me on July 4th, and I was like, what the heck? What in the manifestation is that? Because if you know, I said the exact same thing with Dancing with the Stars 6 years ago. Very flippantly. I was like, that would be such a cool job. I would love to do that one day. That's my dream job. I was like, can you imagine how cool that would be? Like, how fun to go on tour? Because again, at that time, Clinic Me was not jiving. Clinic Me was like, this ain't the move. Like, I'm supposed to do this until the day I die, and we're just gonna okay, sure, yep, totally. I'm not panicking at all. No, no. It's just crazy. So my little moral of the story right there is continue to say the crazy stuff because apparently it happens. And there's a whole other bunch of moments. Like when Connor and I were on our honeymoon, this makes me sound so weird. So, oops, it's out there. But we were in, I think it was Paris. Did I say this already? No. Oh, so I've been doing like a little phone vlog thing. I think I may have said this on a phone vlog for myself. So, yeah, we were in Paris and I saw a sign for Lady Gaga and a show. And we were just roaming the street at night. And I said, I literally looked at that poster. I was like, you need a PT for your for your tour. Hire me. Just hire me. Just think about it. And I joked about it. So just continue to joke about it. Just, for a few years, just keep putting it out there. And you know what? I think it happens. I think it works out. So that was wild. Back to the story time here. I got this phone call and then immediately 24 hours later hopped on, went through the whole interview stuff. And this was also peak week. And then I interviewed Ezra and then I interviewed Steven. And I really wanted to do well with those interviews too, because I just felt like a lot of people were looking forward to these very specific guests. So I didn't want to let people down. So on top of already not having like a super Baja Blast of a time during my 7 week prep, I really piled on a lot during that peak week. I even accepted clients on a Friday, which what was I thinking? Why did I had clients in person Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then I had the interview and then because this opportunity just came in my lap that week, fun fact, my passport was expired and I didn't have a real ID. So during peak week, I had to go to the DMV, get my AZ state ID application going, get my passport application going, throw a bunch of money at it just to make sure it was in time because I didn't know if the people hiring me needed like an updated copy. So I'm doing all this during peak week and I'm trying to stay cool. And if you've ever done a show before, or if you've ever had a peak week before, you know that's the one rule is you're supposed to just chill. And let me tell you, I was anything but chill during this week. But in my mind, I was like, oh, it's all good stress, like I love working with clients. It's fun. I don't mind being busy. I love podcasts. I don't mind being busy. These are just a couple errands. It's fine. It's not going to do anything. I can be busy. And then, this is the cool like interview. I can do it. I can fit it in. And then just like minor inconveniences popped up that week. Like, I don't know, our water shut off. That was a fun little misunderstanding. That was a day that I had to have 2 gallons of water. So then I drove myself to the gym just to fill up 2 gallon waters. So yeah, it just, all the while I couldn't share it. And if you've been here for a minute, I usually share all these things so that way I can communicate some of the lessons and some of the struggles that we all go through in real time. And yeah, keeping that secret, even from my family and friends, because at the time I didn't know if anything was really happening. I just had to be prepared to leave within a week's time. Pause for dramatic effect. I needed to be prepared to leave in a week's time, all while doing one show, all while getting ready for the national show the next weekend. And if you've ever done a national show, you know all that goes into just packing your food alone and accounting for water and just packing in general. And then it was okay, hey, can we have you leave the night of the show? It's like, what? The night of the bodybuilding show? Are you kidding me? And I was like, respectfully, it's like I will still be orange. I will still smell like tilapia and BO. Like, I don't know. Yeah, so it was a whole thing. Everything worked out just fine, but point being, I made the decision to make my season shorter, so I won't be competing at all the rest of the year. I mean, I say that like it's a bad thing. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very stoked to be here. It's not bad at all. It's just I literally couldn't communicate any of that crazy with anybody. My own family didn't know I was actually leaving until that week. And that was insane. My best friends didn't know I was leaving until days before. So I didn't get to, say goodbye to people, which again, this tour schedule, it's so different because I'll at least get to go home more frequently. But just imagine that type of turnaround and then you're depleted, you're stressed. I mean, the Showdown show was honestly my second least favorite show. And it wasn't their fault. It's the first show where I have cried backstage before finals. Well, no, that's a lie. I've cried before, but for different reasons. That was the first show where I cried because of stress. How about that? I had that deep realization. I was not having a good time at all, even on show day. I wasn't looking forward to peak week the next week because I honestly just wanted to be present with my family and my friends. I just was stressed. Like I wasn't even having fun. It felt like at that point, pursuing my pro card with that timeline just was like a checkbox. And I was like, I really don't want to shove everything in and mush it into everything. So it was a lot. It was a good lesson. I think I learned a lot this year of when to let go of certain things because this is the first year that I've ever said no to a show. It's the first year where I have had so many unpredictable variables. I think that's also a valuable lesson for people is there's some years that everything is just going to go so well for you, whether it's your body responding to your efforts and your food, or maybe it's, your life just happens to coincide, or maybe you have really good support. And there's going to be some years inevitably where you just don't have all of those variables all the time. Maybe your body gets smarter, maybe you have more stuff going on with work, or you have just an unpredictable change, or maybe your water goes off on the day that you have 2 gallons to drink, which is such a silly thing to say out loud because, some people don't have water at all. Not to go super deep, but it's like, yeah. So it was just a lot to be able to go through and not share what was happening because normally I'm very communicative about all the exciting things during peak week. And again, if you've been here for a minute, I've been chasing my pro card now for 4 years. And it might sound silly to people who don't understand, but it took a lot out of me emotionally, especially after keeping my head so zeroed in, doing nothing, not even really doing the normal things I would do at home because I had a finish line. And then all of a sudden I was leaving. And that was scary because usually, back to controllables, we put so much emphasis on your reverse has to be perfect and your nutrition has to be dialed in and you have to, do all these things with your workouts. And sometimes that doesn't happen. And it's not the end of the world. I mean, it's okay. You can control what you can control, but I'm not going to lie to you. It's really emotional when you know that you don't have control over all the things, especially after it was my best season the year prior. It was my best off season. It was my quickest response physically in 7 weeks. And to know that this wasn't the year and I have no idea how this off season's going to be. I have no idea how I'm going to look next year. we're just gonna we're just gonna wait and we're gonna see and it's all gonna be worth it. But that was scary and I cried a lot and I stressed a lot, not gonna lie. And for those of you who are new here and maybe not competing, some of these vocab words I'm throwing out, I'm so sorry if you don't know. You're like, what's a peak week? What's prep? Like Ezra's episode, he's like, what do you mean prep? Like, so hopefully you can kind of put together the dots as I've talked through that because I realized it didn't really give context to some of those things. I think that's the update. I came here in, oh, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Nope, we're good. We're good. June 24th, I think, is the day that I came in. So it was a quick turnaround. We had our rehearsals there, and then we just go through the leg of tour. We have more rehearsals, and then we have our show day on Wednesday, our first show day. So that is really exciting. Let me see. I got some listener questions. I think some of them are specific. What are the hours like? Well, similar to Dancing with the Stars, rehearsals are the most chaotic. So as a PT, I try and show up prior to their call time, and I personally choose to stay beyond their call time. So I'm throwing out random numbers. These aren't the times. I'm not sharing locations. I'm not sharing any specifics that would jeopardize anything. But say if their call time was like 7 to 7, then I would probably plan on being there like 6:15 to like 7:45, depending. So even if it's an uneventful day, it's kind of a long day, which I will say everyone here is so positive and so wonderful. People don't complain. People are just happy to be there. So, I mean, sure, when I say it's a long day, I don't mean it with any sort of, it's a long day. Because for me, I have literally dreamed of being on this tour. If I'm sharing another weird kid moment, it's not a fangirl thing. It's just literally, I think at this point, certain jobs are just so cool. The idea of getting the opportunity to help certain people, especially as a dancer. I grew up dancing, so being able to help in that capacity in the performing arts world when I went more like the traditional medicine route, but my soul wanted to go performing arts, it's just really cool to be in this space. There was another photo that resurfaced of me 15 years ago. My sister and I, we actually went to a Lady Gaga concert, and it was interesting because I still remember the moment I said to my sister, I would love to work on tours one day. That would be so cool. Had no idea I wanted to be PT. I had always said growing up that I wanted to be like an NFL dancer, jury's still out on Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. I think my time might be passing. I think that one, that manifestation, that one might be more on the joking side. But I have always said growing up that I thought, being a professional dancer would be cool. So at that time, I said, man, working on a tour would just be really cool. I don't know what that means or what that looks like, but that would just be so cool. And I was like, can you imagine living on a tour bus? Which, LOL. I hate admitting this out there because it sounds so fangirly, but my sister literally took a picture of me in front of the tour bus for that concert. And that literally resurfaced on a memory the week that I accepted this contract. So all I'm saying is this is just insane. Sorry if my words are jumbled at this point. I am so tired, but I already started this first half of the podcast and I was like, I'm gonna finish it because one thing while we're being authentic, I really want to be better about posting podcast episodes throughout this tour about my experiences and just about life and the things that I learn, whether that's staying fit on the road, controlling the controllables, and just showing up better because I think not to go too philosophical, but also that's kind of how we do things here. The last tour, I think it taught me a lot about juggling the things that you're able to juggle, but you also kind of have to drop one thing. And I feel like the thing that I had to drop a little bit was the podcast. I mean, I did do some episodes, but I'm really stepping into my era, guys, okay? I want to be more consistent and share what's helpful for you because it means so much when you all message me still about old episodes saying that, you know, certain messages have not me being quiet, like I'm not in like a very rowdy hotel right now. People are definitely awake. It's the weekend. Anyways, yeah, it means so much when you tell me that something I've shared has helped you because to be honest, it's very fulfilling and it makes me feel like this has a purpose aside from me just babbling to a microphone. As fun as that is, I like to feel like it has some sort of meaning for people. So keep it up, keep telling me the things that are helpful and any episode ideas that you have because I am showing up throughout this tour and I'm so excited. I'm gonna take another drink because I am getting ahead of myself. I have to say this next one in a very certain accent. Where are you? It says, where are you and what are you up to? Any millennial can't read where are you and not think Blink-182. I mean, come on. Also, I can't say who, but all I'm gonna say is the whole 8 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing is so real because some of the people I've interacted with, it's crazy how we've been in the same spaces before and some of the connections that people have. I don't know. Spoiler alert, one of them is connected to what I just quoted. Biggest difference between this tour and the last tour. Again, it's early, and I also try and be very respectful and fair. I would say the most the most glaring differences is the number of patients. So I had a smaller group on the last tour versus this tour. It's probably about double that. And I will say the previous tour versus this tour, that one had more shows within 1 week versus this one being a musician tour, it's more days off sprinkled throughout. So that's a cool difference. Also, this one is a flight tour because it's mostly international, so I don't have to sleep on a coffin bunk, hence why I actually have a recording space right now. I mean, can we just take a moment? I'm not like a hobbit hole in my little coffin bunk trying to communicate on my phone. Because I mean, before that was another thing that's hard to do podcast episodes is we literally lived on the bus, so my space was everyone else's space, and I didn't want to be disrespectful with my camera and my microphone. Like, mind if I get a podcast episode in? I know you're brushing your teeth or you're feeding your baby, but do you mind if I just like do it for the gram? No. Like, so this one you actually have space, which is really cool. And then I would say like personality styles are a little bit different, both good vibe. And yeah, it's just been really fun. I would say that's been the same. More privacy this tour, which is another sticky situation because obviously she is a high profile client. So that was the other thing when I first got this tour is at first there was a debate about if I could even share that I was traveling at all. And that was quite the sticky situation because thankfully I had become very quickly successful with posing prehab. And although I intend for it to primarily be virtual, a lot of my clients are virtual. Beforehand, almost all of my clients were virtual. But as I was home, more people were wanting in-person help. So that became a sticky situation because I, at the time, was being told I was potentially not allowed to share that I was touring at all, let alone traveling. So it's like, how do I keep showing up for my business and still offer my services and still do the podcast, but not disclose that I'm not home? I don't think that's possible. So that was really tricky because I kind of had to wait until I physically got to the first rehearsal location to disclose anything. And even that, it was still kind of like a little asterisk. And now it's a bit more clear about what I'm allowed to share. But you can see why it took me until week 4 to make this episode telling you it all. Like saying what tour I'm on, where we're going, all that stuff. I mean, I still don't know to the extent of what I can and can't share, but I'm gonna try just to, you know, be authentic in my experiences. So yeah, those are the biggest differences I would say. How do you balance comp season with everything else you have going on? Well, right now, I don't. Like, that's the simplest answer. No, but actually for real, I kind of already went into this, but you just have to control the controllables. I mean, I will say the fact that this is a flight tour, we now stay in hotels, which means that we have access to a hotel gym, which does mean getting up earlier, even if it's just getting some extra steps in, or when I have downtime between patients, like I was literally doing my vacuums and some other core stability work. I was doing some mobility work for myself. So I think it's just a matter of taking small bites throughout the day and setting very attainable goals. That way you don't get discouraged, like a water goal or sometimes a step goal can be hard, but I mean, see if you can at least set yourself a small goal or a protein goal. I didn't bring my small scale. I honestly should have along with my coloring book, but I'll just have to grab that when I go home. Yeah, so that's my best advice, honestly, for anybody on any fitness journey is just to control the controllables. I have to be careful about saying blanket statements, but I know even a lot of dancers are asking me even just basic protein. I mean, trying to get, there's a general rule of thumb of maybe a gram of protein per pound of body weight. For me, I hover anywhere between, let's just say I'm usually like around like a 125, I think. I don't know. I was weighing myself consistently just for objective data, but we don't have a scale here. So I think I'm around 125. So trying to get maybe around like 120-ish of protein. Everyone's different. Usually I'm around that 120 to 130 grams of protein. And that's even just a good goal to start with, and just making sure that every single snack has at least 18 to 20 grams of protein. When I say love, I mean this facetiously. Whenever it says packed with protein and you look and it's 6 grams of protein, that's not packed. For those who are newer in their fitness journey, you want to think like 15 to 20 grams of protein, and that I would say could be deemed as a significant source. Let me see here what the next question was. What was your reaction to the news that you were on this tour? Hmm. My authentic reaction was WTF. Like, I was jaw to the floor just because, like I said, it was a joke out loud before I picked up the phone. Very quickly, I put on my professional hat because I am a professional. I do try to make sure that I am just very objective because you're just treating people. And it wasn't the person that I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God about. It was just the opportunity to do another tour, the opportunity to work this tour. And I mean, this tour is known for the caliber of the performance and the art. And I'm really excited to be a part of this tour, especially being my little, witchy horror loving self. I mean, like, it's a really cool tour. I don't know if you've seen clips from previous shows, or maybe you'll see clips from future shows, but it it's an edgy show and I freaking love it. Like, I don't know what tour could top this one, I'll be honest. And I know what you're gonna say next. Would you go and dance with the stars again? I'm not saying no. I'm just saying currently this tour is just really cool to experience another form of a tour, and I really love it. The next question, it has nothing to do with tour. It says any competing plans? Plan, no. Thoughts, I do have thoughts. I, I'll be honest, because I'm crazy, I did originally check tour dates to see if I could fit in another show during the tour at some point. I know. I know what you're thinking. I'm doing that whole thing again where I need to just like do one slice of the pie at a time and not the entire pie, but my brain has a hard time with that and it wants the whole pie all the time. So I did check. None of the dates lined up for 2025. I'm taking another drink again. Hold on. Not me leaning away from the microphone because I hate mouth noises. So I'm always so nervous. Like when I listen to other podcasts and they take a drink, I don't think anything of it. But when it's my own podcast, I'm like, oh no, there was a noise. Anyways, so I'll be honest, I don't at this point foresee myself doing another Arizona show. I think I am done. Mostly just because I think in order to keep things fun, I need to do, if I'm doing a warm-up show, local show, granted, I have chosen Arizona shows many times as warm-up shows purely because of financial reasons. Because when you travel elsewhere, I mean, it's obviously you're paying for the airfare, you're paying for the hotel, you're paying for the show registration. It's a lot to pay for. But I think at this point, no matter how long of a prep I need to do, I do not have interest in doing another Arizona show just to keep it fun. I think technically, I think it's the Desert Storm Classic. I've never done that one before, so I would do that one just because I've heard really good things. And I haven't done any of the Winnie Jones shows. So I will say, maybe if it's a show I hadn't done before, but I love the idea of a Texas show. I think that they just seem like another caliber. I've never done a show there, but they just seem like they've really got their stuff together. So that would just be cool. I would love to do a show where you get another crown if you win. That would, especially if it's got the little jewels. I still have my heart set on junior nats. I mean, come on. It's still, now I can show you all because I was keeping it secret. It's been my background since January, and that was the heartbreaking part. I literally had my own little IFBB Pro Junior Nats picture. So I've been manifesting Pro Carter Junior Nats hard for months, and I haven't given up on that. So I do want to do Junior Nats next year. what I'm grappling with is I'm a big believer, especially now, of the power of our words. So I don't even want to have another plan of, all right, maybe I'll plan for junior nats, but then maybe I'll potentially plan on this. So, but the sticky part, if you are a competitor and if you're not and you're still tuned in, I appreciate you because I realize I'm talking about a lot of things right now and you're like, what is Desert Storm? Who's Whitney Jones potentially? What do you mean Texas shows? You get crowns? Like, um, yeah, so if yeah, that's what I was saying. Sorry, I had to regather myself for a second. If you follow the timeline of shows, you know there's this weird duality between being ready for a show the first half and the second half because there's this weird window of time throughout the year. Like I wish you consistently had national shows, pro qualifiers throughout the year, and that's just not totally the case. I think usually shows pick up around like May, June. So that's why a lot of the time I've usually started prep in January. And then this was the first year where, like I said, I started literally in April. That being said, Junior Nats, I would still love to do that show. I still see myself winning my pro card there. Ooh, I look sleepy, guys. I'm gonna wrap up soon because like, my eyes are drooping. I'm gonna read my little book and go to bed. But just to wrap this up, I I still see myself winning my pro card at Junior Nats. I still want to manifest that for myself, but I just don't know. And that's the scary part. And I think that's okay. And that's why I want to share that is I don't have a plan and I almost always have a plan for competing. And this is uncomfortable because it's going to be a pretty long off season, the longest off season for me. The longest, oh my God, the more I think about it, which is good. I mean, a lot of us go through that. We need to go through that. Um, as much as I want to do June, and usually it's Father's Day weekend, so let's say third weekend in June, but there's not a whole lot of shows prepping before that. So I don't know. If you have ideas, actually, if you have recommendations, here we go. Looping you in. If you have recommendations for really fun local shows and or tell me about your experience at certain pro qualifying shows because I really want to do junior nats, I do. And I want to make sure I'm setting the intention of not having a plan B, but it's tough because you also just don't know if it's your day or if your body's going to be ready. And I have no idea what I'm going to look like or feel like. I have no idea if I'm going to be on another tour. Let's be honest, because I'm going to be on this tour until January 2026, if I haven't said that already. End of January. So I will be looking at potentially starting prep in February. And who knows, the last tour I was on added more dates. I don't know if this tour is going to add on more dates. What if it does? I'm not going to say no. So then does that mean I start prep in like March? Am I going to be ready for a June show and like not have a warm-up show? I have no idea. So that's the scary part because I love competing, I do. But also this year, unfortunately, my experience was not happy, happy, joy, joy. It was really good and really purposeful, but I didn't love my stage photos. I didn't have a Summer Yoo-hoo Baja Blast backstage. I was not not loving life. Um, it was just an interesting year competing wise. I don't want to say it was a weird year or a bad year because this year has been fantastic and full of surprises and full of lessons that I did not expect. And it's scary because I have no idea what's coming next, but it's also really exciting. So, the other question I did skip, it said, what are some of your tour plans? And I will say, speaking of exciting, let me know your recs. Go ahead, take a look at the tour dates, take a look and let me know what recommendations you have for coffee places, thrifting, food places, touristy places. I need your help because I am the person that usually looks up stuff the day before, the day of, and then you realize you should have planned better. Hee hee. But I do know that I'm going to get some sort of experience tattoo while I'm on tour because that was my bucket list item from the last tour. I wanted to get a mirror ball, which I know if you're a fan of Dancing with the Stars and you get it and super original. But I just thought, how cool would that be? And then we just didn't have time. So this tour that is always on my bucket list is to have the confidence to be the kind of person that gets a tattoo on a trip, let alone on a tour. So I'm like, it's happening. Whoa! If you're watching, did you see that effect? That's crazy! Wait, what? Hold on, one more time. Okay, I hope you're watching because that is the best accidental effect, and I have to go out on that. Usually, like you do like a thumbs up or a peace sign, and it's like, kind of like an eye roll effect. That was really cool. Okay, when I sign off, that's exactly how I'm gonna sign off. I don't think I left anything out, but if I did on this life update, please send me another message. Let me know the things that you would like to hear while I'm on the road, any tips that you want. Oh, last one. So sorry for the listener. I'm gonna make a video, so I just want to acknowledge it. I did get some posing specific questions about rib flare, about front pose, about back pose. So I will make some more videos as far as like being present and being more consistent. And let me know if you do want me to do another posing specific episode. I also got some requests for peak week episodes. So I will do another one of those for newcomers, newbies, new people sport. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna sign off because I'm getting delusional. But thank you so much for tuning in and for riding this ADD roller coaster and for showing me love because it is tough to show up after you haven't shown up consistently because I think as humans we feel bad or we feel guilty when we haven't, just like the gym, right? You quote fell off the wagon for a little bit and then you get back on the horse. I feel like that with podcasting sometimes because I love this space and I love creating and I love helping people across the world because there are listeners across the world and I feel so guilty and like I let people down when I don't consistently do episodes. So it helps me a lot when you show me love and grace and you're also encouraging and say, when's the next episode? I can't wait, or that one was so good. It just really brings me so much warmth. So thank you for supporting me, and I am going to talk to y'all later. Like I said, I'm so tired. All right, I'm gonna sign off with a really cool effect. Thank you, and I hope you'll have a great week. Bye, guys. Yay, did it!